today's Bez Hashem Chulin Ayin Gimel, and we are going to start from the beginning of Ayin Gimel. We're going to learn the sugya of Kechotuch Dami, and then a quick sugya about Treifa Shchuta. But the long sugya today is about Shchitais in Nipple and Misos in Nipple. That is a very complicated halacha which comes up here and comes up as Hashem in Harva Aroitiv, which is an interesting concept, something that hopefully we'll get a little bit, which is that that when the Torah says that when if something falls off, it has a din of Eva Menachai. So the question is, what happens if something is meduldul? It's somewhat it's half on, half off, and then the animal is killed. Do we look at it as if it's not Eva Menachai, it's part of the animal, or do we look at it as Eva Menachai, that's called Nipul? We're going to see Be'ez Hashem in the Gemara, and the Sugya comes into the Kishak of Atayah Rameh and the Chachamim. That's going to be what we're going to be married to. That's going to be the Gemara. But before that, we have to finish off the halacha of Kechotuch Dami. And this Sugya of Kechotuch Dami is Be'emes, two very, 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 very important, very practical applications to this Sugya. So let's go back. The Gemara had a shayla. The Gemara had a shayla of that uba l'chaticha koi. So Ravina said Amar di Gezach. That what? The Gemara had a shayla that l'chura that what? That it's going to be it should be. It's what? The Gemara had a shayla that l'chura it's a maga beis hastarim, and why? So why is there tuma l'remeya? The Gemara has a mori the teretz. The teretz is kol ha'imid lachtich kechotuch dami. Anything that's destined to be cut, we look at it as if it's already cut, to the point that it's not even going to be considered a maga beis hastarim. Keman, in fact, the Gemara kasha, what? But this is it's telling the machlekes remain the chacham. Kiman kerameya nan kol yodis hakelim, all handles of a kelim shehein aruchos that are extra long. V'asa l'kaitzusan, and you're going to cut it down to size. Matvil ad makamida. You only have to be toivel up till that place, but you don't have to put the rest into the mikvah, because why? Because it's kol ha'imid lachtek kechotuch dami. Divrei Rameh v'chachamim ad sheyatvel es kulay. No, the chachamim say that you have to be chaytech. We don't say kol ha'imid lachtek kechotuch dami, right? So the chur the Gemara kasha. So what Rameh holds, this part is also only l'shit Rameh himself biyachid. So Gemara fil teim rabbanon chiburi oichlin command the mifrasi dami. Rashi says that this is a Gemara that we have many, many times, and whenever the Gemara says the Ravina Chaburi Eichlin command the Mifrasi Dami, it means this Gemara that Ravina said the teretz of Kechotuch Dami, and the Gemara said Afilu Teim Rabbanan Chaburi Eichlin command the Mifrasi Dami. Right? So Chaburi Eichlin is command the Mifrasi Dami. Since Chiburi Eichlin is soft, it's edible, it's right, so it's soft, and therefore if Chiburi Eichlin that's Seifei Lachtoich is Keman the Mifrasi Dami, it's as if it's already separated. Yeah, Keman Unigi by the other bit touching each other. So for some the Gemara has a kasha Bishlam Malula Hainu de Katani Chotcha. That's why it says that he had cut it. El Ravina, my chotcha. Why does it have to say chotcha now, Mishnah? I did Tani Reisha chotcha, Tani Nami Sefer chotcha. But in Chanam you don't need the chotcha, because why? Because Seif Kosoif is what? It's command the Mifrasi. That's the end of the sugya. Now, there's a Yisoidis the Gekasha on this Gemara by Kol Yod Sakelim Shein Aruches V'Asa L'Koitzitzon. Toises has a kasha. For Toises. Okay, you're going to say Chiburi, what's called the Kol HaChotuch, Kol Ha'im Lachtuch Kechotuch Dami, but it's not in the mikveh. If you're only going to stick in the keli, would only have, right, you can hold on to that part, that's the extra part of the handle, and you're going to stick it into the mikveh, it's not in the mikveh. So there's two ways how to ask it. You could ask it. The Tosfos is asking out that it's not in the water, or you could ask it that the problem is that there's a miyat hamakpid. There's different ways how to ask it, and there's different lumdis in here. But maybe the pshat is al miyat hamakpid. Right? We know that midaraisa.
It's not there.
What?
It's like it's not there.
But the water is. So the water is there. So the water is there. No, but that makam achatach, there's no water.
I know, but it's not there. The thing is, it's like it's not there. So why should it matter that there's no water?
But the part that remains, the part that remains. Let's say I have this is the handle, right?
Yeah.
And so the top part is not there. Good, fine.
Yeah.
But this part is here, right?
Yeah.
And that part is not in the mikvah because it has this thing here.
Oh, I mean because it's blocking.
Yeah.
That's okay, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Push it.
Yeah.
Push the kasha. Yeah. So. Yeah, Tosfos asked the kasha to me a makbid, and the Achronim want to know why he doesn't ask that it's not in the water. Yeah. I don't want to go into all the shmuzim. Okay. So there's three mahalchim in the Rishonim. There's a mahalach of Tosfos. The Tosfos is matra that we're not talking about a regular case. We're not talking about a regular handle that's attached. We're talking about a handle that's more like a chain, and water can get through. So that's why. So the extra part, it doesn't have to go in the mikvah. You don't have to teufel it. But the remainder is in the water without any chatzitza, etc. Yeah, which is a meridigo kimta. That is Tosfos' malach. The Rash and the Rashba have a meridigo chiddush that they say that the pshat is that there's a halacha of maga beis hastarim, which is that the halacha of maga beis hastarim is that lamashal, lamashal humans, right? You don't have to get water into your mouth. However, you have to be able to. It has to be that it's possible for water to get into the mouth. So, if lamashal, if somebody has food stuck in their teeth, and water can't get in it, so then it'll be a chatzitza. That's the halacha of a chatzitza in a beis hastarim.
Temporary.
Right, all this kind of stuff, right. So they have the Rash has a murder of raya for B'tesefta or something that by Kalim you don't say that. That is the says the chilik legabe beis hastarim of Kalim beis hastarim of humans, and the pshat is so in Echanami this will be a halacha legabe Kalim that by Kalim there won't be a beis hastarim. That's this shtickle. Okay. But there's a third mahalach, and the third mahalach is a gewaldige chiddush from the Rishonim that they say that you could split the baby over here. That you could say that the pshat is that it blibes since he has no problem. He's not interested in taking it off right now. So blibes like it's eine makbid, even though it's asid lachtich. And we say but it's not going to blibe lemaisa since I'm not taking it off today. So blibe's not makbid. Yeah. There's a lot of lumdus about it. They want to say that a keli is a little bit different than a human. A human he's makbid partial because it's bothering him over here. It's over by a keli. There's nothing bothering him. It's just a question of when his decision is to cut it off. If he didn't decide to cut it off yet, And that's okay. There's a lot of shmuz. Okay, that is the three mahalchim in this kasha and Tosfos' kasha. Where is this thing negeya mamish every single day? This is negeya very stark legabe nails in tefillah. Yeah, and the big shmooze about if somebody has to cut their nails, if they have to cut their nails, right? So the mechaber paskins, no, you don't have to cut your nails. You have to cut the nails, right? Tosfos holds that the pshat is that it's a chatzitza. Fai says they don't hold like Tosfos, right? We don't hold like Tosfos. Tosfos says it would be a chatzitza, right? That's what Tosfos says. And the Rash and the Rashba hold that it'll be a chatzitza by a human. Just by a keli, it's not a problem. No, we don't hold like the Rash, like Tosfos, Rash and Rashba. It's not a chatzitza. And fakert the teretz. Even the Ramah that paskins yeah, that we do have to take off the nails, yeah. The Ramah, the Shach learns like this in the Ramah. The Ramah is not doesn't argue. It doesn't hold like Tesis. Avada, it's not a chatzitza. Nervos. The reason why you have to cut off the nails is because since the minig, the lashon of the Ramah is that since the minig is to cut it off, so now it becomes a chatzitza. Since the minig is that we're not going to take it off, we're ganzazach because we're afraid that this thing's going to be under the nail and we're not sure where it's going to be. Because the minig is to take it off. Now it becomes a chatzitza because the minig is to take it off. But avada, this right becomes like a makbid. But the word is, but avada, we don't hold like the Rash and like Tosfos that this would be a chatzitza. Yeah, that's a very, very important nekuda. Yeah. Now I want to get to a very interesting shaila that they asked the Chassam Sofer, and I want to tell it to the other shaila. Okay, this is just get a little freilich hatayra. So the shaila asked the Chassam Sofer like this: the minig by Chassidim is to shave off the whole head. That women shave off their whole head. Yeah. I forgot to tell you that the shmuz of oy melachtig gechotig dami, darum stellt it to side to nails and side to hair also. You'll have the same issue by hair. If you have to say that oy melachtig gechotig dami, if somebody has extra long hair and they want to cut it, would it be a problem of a chatzitza? But this shayl asked Chassam Sofer, the meaning by Chassidim is to cut off the hair, shave it off in ganzen, but they don't shave it off right away. They shave it off after the first night. After the first, during Shavuot Brachos, it's a whole big thing. They make a whole what's called it. It's a whole ceremony, right? The mother-in-law comes, the place, and they make a whole ceremony. They cut off her hair, right? That's how it goes, right? So now the shayl to the Chassam Sofer, oy melachtig gechotig dami. Yeah. So the first, any mikveh the mikveh that she went to before the chasna should be a problem. Oy melachtig gechotig dami. Yeah, that's what the Chassam Sofer is. That's what they asked the Chassam Sofer. Chassam Sofer wants to say that that's not called oy melachtig because it's only like oy melachtig if I want to take it off right now. But if I don't want to take it off right now, why? Because I want to leave it on for the chasna. Tomorrow. So tomorrow. So right now it's not oy melachtig. Clear?
But the handle, you don't want to take it off.
Oh, what's better handle? So what's better handle? What's going on there? Yeah, and I want to tell to one more case, and then I want to clarify something here. Yeah, there's another shmuz here. There's a famous shaila, legabe b'tzias hapas, right? B'tzias hapas, if you're supposed to cut before you make hamoitzi, you're not supposed to cut before you make hamoitzi. Question is, right? You're supposed to make a cut in it, right? So there's a famous in Shulchan Aruch is gepaskin that l'mashal Shabbos makes you don't cut. You shouldn't cut at all. Maybe you can make a simon, but don't cut because you might end up cutting too much. What's going to happen if you cut too much? You're going to cut to the point where it's going to be that if you pick up the smaller part, the bigger part is not going to come along, and therefore it won't be a shalom. Yeah, and that's how the Rosh paskins that it won't be a shalom. Now, the Beis Yosef brings down there's a Rabbeinu Baruch that says that it's still a shalom. But the Beis Yosef says it's not moving. How could it be? It's not mistaba like that. Where does it come from? Zok to Shara Ephraim. I'll tell you Pshat in the Rabbeinu Baruch. Pshat in the Rabbeinu Baruch is our sugya. Because our sugya says that by oichlin is commanded mefrisi dami. So, and every time you have bread, it's oimelachtoich. He's about to break it. He's about to break bread. Bamish kipshutai, right? Pun intended. So memela. So he's about to break bread. So what? How do you have b'chlal shalom? The teretz is that by bread is new thing. And if it's a new thing, zok the Shar Ephraim. So how Rabbeinu Baruch, memela, there won't be a problem of holding that it'll be kichatuch. It'll be a problem of less of a shalom over there as well. That's what he wants to say. Yeah. So I just want to say like this. I'm not chas v'shalom. I'm not putting myself in all these what's calls. But I just want to clarify something like this. Yeah. The Chasam Sofer Svara. Chasam Sofer Grada talks about this Ryan, but in a different akuda. Chasam Sofer Svara by a kali you have over here for sure, right? Because nobody wants it should be broken before Hamoitzi. Right? So you don't have Kechatach Dami. You don't have Kechatach Dami B'chal. And by nails also like that. Yeah? Our Gemara maybe is only talking about, our Gemara is talking about, the way I understand it, there's mamish there's three dargas here. Yeah? You have a darg of our Gemara that what happened? He made a keli and the handle was too long. That's where the Gemara says, does he have an intention to leave it there? It's there. He didn't get around to cutting it yet. But was it there for a reason? No, it was never there for a reason. Yeah? It wasn't there for a reason. That is one darga where the Gemara says, a nail in here already is not a tushta. Why? Because nail in here is not here that was never had a purpose. Of course it had a purpose. Now it got too long. But that's not the oimelachtig of our Gemara of Gyadas Hakelim Shem Arucha is also the Kaitzesan. Yeah, and then by the chasana and by the chasana and by Betzias HaPas, it's a third darga. It's not. First of all, it's not the pshat that it's not there for any reason. It's not the pshat. It's not the second level which it was there for a good reason, but now it's too long and now I want to cut it. It's a third darga. I want to keep it here now. So b'chlal, how do you see b'chlal that's going to be a svara of kechatach dami? That's mashiesh lefalpo by in these shmuzin and va'ayin sham. Just thought it was very interesting to be ma'ayin in the shaila what it'll be in these cases. Yeah, because l'chura this is a case where it's much. It's not just a darga where the vart is it was never there for a reason, which I could have said that's the pshat now Gemara, and I could have said that in other words that the mechaber and the Ramah that they're not dingzach with toises. Avada, they're not dingzach with toises that toises holds in our sugya. Again, how's it? Does it stem? One second, my thing is not working. I don't know why. Who says the mechaber and the Ramah b'chlal dingzach with Tosfos like Abi in our sugi? In our sugi, it's kechatach dami. Then Ava obviously because zoy melachtek kechatach dami, and then maybe you'll say that the pshat is that Ava the Tosfos is kasha that it's a chatzitza. But it could be that that's only in that sugya. In our Gemara, where it never had a purpose, but by here, obviously, by here, it had a purpose. It was here for a reason. So you right now deciding to be oikeret kilu and to now to discontinue. Okay, that's not the same oimelachtig kechatach dami of the pshat is of something that never had any purpose. Yeah. What'll be in our Gemara? The Gemara tells us to the Uber also. I mean, I don't know if the Uber, if it's such a good still. I don't know. Okay, good. That is Mashiesh Lefalpo by in that Svara, in that Shaila, and those two interesting Shailas that are Mamash Negea La'alacha. Okay. Zogt, Lamaisa, when it comes to the nails, we're makbid Mamash, we're makbid on a very, 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 what's called it way. I mean, there's a shmuz about if somebody forgot that of Shabbos, then they would have a goy do it, and all different kinds of shmuzin where people are mamish very, very, very makbid on this thing. Okay, so it's negeh for all those men that want to go on the harabayis. It's negeh you have to cut the nails. Yeah. So to the Raisa. Yeah. I knew I'll get you excited. What do you say? We had our Mishnah. We had a Mishnah that what happened? They chopped off the if they didn't chop off the leg of this Aver HaYotzei before Shchita, then after Shchita we chop it off. Well, we didn't even have to chop it off. But bottom line is, it was attached after the shechita. So the animal that was geshachten became achila. It became food. It's roy lekabel tuma, and it was mekabel tuma. It's going to be mekabel tuma. Zokt Rameya, that the hand becomes Eva Menachai. It has a din like Eva Menachai, which means that it's going to have tumah like a nevela, and it's going to be metama the rest of the animal. The Chacham no maga treifa shchuta, not maga nevela, because they hold that the shchita on the mother, even though it's not matir, the Gemara is going to be marich about this conversation, but even though it's not matir on the hand for legabe achila, but it's matir on the hand legabe tumas nevela, tumas Eva Menachai. The Chacham say, it's matir the hand from Tumas Eva Menachai. So Mela, it's not Maga Nevela. So what is it? Maga Treifa Shchuta. What does it mean, Maga Treifa Shchuta? What is that? Treifa Shchuta mean Matame. What is that? In Kedavud Shmuel, Dama Avud Shmuel, Treifa Sheshachta Mitama b'Mukdashim. That a Treifa that was Geshachtin, it's metama be mukdashim. So we're talking about mukdashim here, and the memela will be a treifa shchuta. Now there is a kasha that the Cholim ask over here, an interesting question. If we're talking about mukdashim, right? He shechted it. It's mukdashim. It has the legs sticking out, and that's what we're teaching our Mishnah, right? So Fragan say, why did the Gemara earlier on, if you remember, we cleared? When you stick out the hand, but it's inside the azara, if it's going to be maybe outside the azara, won't be bust with the treif. Here we have a Mefurish Mishnah that I shechted. Obviously, I shechted in the azara, and I shechted it, and it's b'tam b'muktashim. So l'chura, what it should be a clear yishuv that it didn't help the fact that it's in the azara. That's the question that the Cholim asked. The ayin sham. Okay. Sagt die mal weiter. Sagt die Gemara, Mamatzina betreffen Shechita mit Shechita. Here comes the conversation. Here comes the conversation of Mei and the Chachamim. The conversation the Gemara is going to be married. Mamatzina betreffen Shechita mit Harosa af Shechitas behema tetayas uber. Yeah. Tanya. Amalem Ramei. Ramei tells the Chacham, "V'chimi tiarula eva zeh midei nevela." Shchita simai imkein tatirenu ba'achila. What are you talking about? You can't. You got to pick a choice. Does the shchita work on this eva or not? Does it work on the eva yotze or not? If you're going to tell me that the shchita works on the eva yotze for what? For tumah, it should work legabe achila as well. Yeah. So Ramei's question is that he's asking Tuma from Achila. Simple question. What are they? The Chacham seem to be addressing a completely different shmuz. They're discussing if the hand where the shechita of the mother is more effective. Is it more effective on its own body or on its fetus? Shareshaninu, like we find, if you cut up a piece of the fetus, it's still mutar b'achila. But from the mother itself, if you cut off the spleen or the kidney, also b'achila. So this is here the Rabbanan in this brisa seem to be addressing a completely different question. They're not answering the question of achila versus tuma. They seem to be addressing a different question completely about the mother versus the fetus. My karma affect the Gemara. Amarava v'ami lakadi chisuri mechser v'achi katani. The brisa is only giving us two bulletins of a whole complete conversation, and part of it is not nishnas in this brisa. V'achi katani. You're going to tell me that the shchita simai was metayah the aver from nevela im kein tatirenu b'achila amrulai. Yeah, here's already part of Ksuri Mechsa that was sticking in. Amulai Treva Techiach Sheshchitasa Metarasa Midei Nevela Veina Metarasa Meachila. You're asked. So this is the answer to Ramei's question. Ramei asked a question that if it's that a shchita should work. If it works, it should work completely. So no. I tell you, I'm showing you a place where the shechita works only halfway. By a treifa, the shechita works to be mitayah from tumas nevela, but not from fachila. On that answer of the Chachamim, Rameh went and asked another question, and on that second question, Rameh, that's where the Chacham kick in the brisa. Amar lahem, so Rameh says, "Lo yimti out to shchita streifa, oisa davashi gufa." You buy a shchita streifa, that's when it's the mother itself. Titayir say eva davash ain't a gufa, but it should be mitayir something that's ain't a gufa. How could it do that? On that they said no. If it's mitayir davash gufa, it should sure be mitayir davash ain't a gufa because harbe matzal sal she'ain a gufa yosem a gufa sharishoninu koytich min haoba shemeyah mutbachila min atchal lakol yisos bachila. Tanya Nabi Hachi Zok Gemara Brisa Mamash Mefurish the same kind of thing. Amar Rameh V'chi Mitaru Leveze Midei Nevela Muloi Shchitasi Moy Agavoch over here it says Amuloi Shchitasi Moy. Yeah, in our version it wasn't clear if the Shchitasi Moy was part of Rameh's narration or right. In other words, was it or it was Amuloi Shchitasi Moy. In this version, it's Amru lo shchita sumeh. Yeah, we could have read the brisa, the first brisa, like this. Amar lahem Rameh v'chi mitiaru la'ever zeh midei nevela, and then Rameh said shchita sumeh imkein. In other words, it's all part of Rameh's narration. But from this brisa, it's clear that what that it's a back and forth. Rameh said Amar Rameh v'chi mitiaru la'ever zeh midei nevela question mark. They answered shchitas imoy, and on that, Frek Rameh imkein tatirenu b'achila. Interesting. Okay, so tomorrow right. Amrulai shchita simayim kein tatirenu ba'achila. If shchita is working for Tyre, it should work for achila. Amrulai treifa techiach sheshchitasa mitarasa midenevel v'mevein mitarasa ba'achila. We find that shchita works for tuma and not for achila. Amar lahem im tiarta shchita streifa oisa ves eva amdul. This is where Rameh says that no im tiarta shchita streifa oisa. The S ha'ever ha'meduldul bam. Here all of a sudden, Rameh throws in a word that's going to bring us, that's going to throw us into a massive sugya of nipol, of shchitos and nipol and misos and nipol, which is that imtiharta shchitas treifa. If we find that the shchita of a treifa works, oisa, it's metirit. There's a Aver Hamedol Doba. What's Aver Hamedol Doba? Aver Hamedol Doba is that if an animal has, we're going to be talking about this for the rest of the block. So let's discuss a little bit. If an animal has a aver that's hanging off, right? And you have an aver amdul duba. What's aver amdul duba? Meaning it's a full aver. What does a full aver mean? A full aver means that it's basar gidim batzamis. It's made up of all three parts. It's not just a piece of hanging meat or just a piece of bone or a piece of gidim. It's all three, right? The halacha is that if it was nishchita, if the aver amdul duba is nishchita, right? So shchita, at least this Tanakama holds, that shchita is going to be oisa, eina oisa nipol. Right? We're holding that ein shchita oisa nipol, which means that the pshat is that we don't look at it that when once you shech this animal, it's as if it's separated. No, it's not nipple. It's not nipple. It's not detached. We'll see where this language comes from, and therefore, and since it's not detached, in other words, that the shechita is going to work on the Avram Adoldol, that it's going to say that it's not Tomei, right? It's not Tomei. Why should it have been Tomei? It should have been. What happens by Misa? What happens by Misa is that what we say is that if there's an Avram Adoldol, and then the animal dies, so then the animal is as if it fell off. That the pshat is, and it blibes eva menachai, not eva menanevela. It blibes eva menachai, right? But mashen came by shchita. We don't say that, and we say that the shchita works on this aver, right? So if we say that the shchita works on this aver, so zok Rameya in tiart. Oh, so it's not. So Rashi says Rashi says that it's not going to be motor b'achila, but it's not going to be mikabel toma. It's not going to be. It's not going to be. It's not going to be an avela. Yeah.
Like in between.
It's not going to be motor b'achila because it will be like treif v'shchuta. Yeah. 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 Im tiharto shchitas treifa oisav esa ever amdodol ba because dava shegufa. The tire is oba sheina gufa. Amrulai harbi matzal sav sheina gufa yes be gufa shari shani no chaytim when oba b'shemeyel but b'achila v'natchol v'naklei sas b'achila. Okay. So to Gemara. Amar Rab Shimon ben Lakish, and this is where we're getting into the sugya. Amar Rab Shimon ben Lakish. Ke machlokes be'oberin, kach machlokes be'evarim. Just like there's a machlokes or mei and the chachamim, if the shechita works on the ober, right? To be mitayer from nevela, right? That's the machlokes in our Mishnah. Kach machlokes be'evarim. Yeah, same thing as by machlokes be'evarim. Again, the same kind of question by Avraham Adolu. That is how Rish Lakish says. Now. That if a shchita if a shchita is going to be oisa nipul or not, right? Now agavorcha, I think, and I planned on looking at it, but I didn't. It looks like Rashi had a slightly different girsa in the Gemara. Rashi's girsa is kemachloikis be'ever the uber kach machloikis be'ever kemachloikis be'ever kach machloikis be'ever. Or kemachloikis be'ubrin kach machloikis be'ever. I thought it was kemachloikis be'ober kach machlokes be'ever or kemachloikis be'ober and kach machlokes be'ever. I'm not sure. Rabbi Yochanan Nama machlokes be'ever the ober, aval be'ever the behema the v'hako shchita is an ipo. Rabbi Yochanan argues. He says no. At least this is the first version of Rabbi Yochanan. The machlokes is be'ever the ober. That's our Mishnah machlokes with the ever yotzei. The machlokes if the shechita is going to make it is going to be mitaros midei nevelo or not. So what does it mean shechita is a nipol? What does it mean shechita is a nipol? Loit over here. Now it's important to understand that it's not a regular shechita is a nipol over here. Why? Because it's really a borrowed term, and we're going to see later on that nipol normally means. What does nipol mean? Nipol normally means Eva Menachai, right? So what does it mean Eva Menachai? Eva Menachai means that you have an Eva Amadodo, and you say that Misois and Nipol. What does it say? It says that when the animal dies, it's as if the hand fell off, right? It was as is. It was pretty precarious, and when it's as if it fell off, right? Now, so what is Nipol doing? It's quite a kula. Nipol is a Misa is a Nipol. By the way, so and we're going to see soon that Misa is a Nipol is back to Mamori the Kula. Why is it a Kula Misa is a Nipol? Because the pshat is because if you say don't say Nipol, if it's still attached, so then it becomes a nevela, and a nevela, a kazayisman a nevela, regardless if it has a whole aver, it doesn't need basagid matzamas. It's all matame. Mashenkin. Now that we're saying it's Misa's oisa Nipol, so now it's not going to be matama unless it's what? Unless it is a whole basagid matzamas, right? So it's really a kula. But what we're doing is we're using that borrowed term over here, and we're saying that nipol, that in other words, that the shechita is not going to work on the ober. It's not going to work on the ober. And shechita by the Avraham Adolto is not going to work to be mitayir the shechita, to be mitayir it from what's called the Avraham Adolto. It's not going to be mitayir. Amar Rabbi Yosef Chanina. What's shot in this Rabbi Yochanan Shita that he holds that Divrei Hakol Shchita is a nipol? That Divrei Hakol Shchita is a nipol, the Shchita does not work on the Avraham Adolto. Amar Rabbi Yosef Chanina. My time Rabbi Yochanan Alibi Drabanan. Hi Islay Takanta Bechazara. Vaha Lesle Takanta Bechazara. So what does that mean? What? Zok Rashi, Murdiga Rashi. Rashi says, if you remember, it was a machlokes Rav and Rabbi Yochanan at the beginning of the parak. If you move back, if the hand is pulled back in, if what? If you could rectify the problem, and if the hand goes back in, it'll get, the shechita will work on it. So Rabbi Yochanan was the one that held that if you pull it back in, it's fine. And at this point in the Gemara thinks that the pshat is that what shechita is going to be oisa nipol by Eved the Behem, shechita is going to be oisa nipol. You know why? Because by Ober, there's a machlokes Rameh and the Chachamim. Why? Because by Ober you could you have Islay Takantim Chazara. Mashenkin by Eved the Behema, once it's already slightly falling off, there's no Eitzah, you'll never rectify it, and therefore that's why the Chacham argue by later in this version of Rabbi Yochanan, there's never shechita is always oisa nipol, right? By Oberim, I mean, but Eved Behema, the Chacham Machalik. By Ober, they say that it's going to work because it's like Tekantim Chazara, but by Aver, it's less like Tekantim Chazara, and therefore the shechita is not going to work on it. That is the Gemara at this point. Meisvei, from our brayso that we just said, right? So Rameya said that what? That the shechita is working on the Eivir Abedodul Ba, because it's Davish Gufa. So therefore the shechita is working on the Eivir Abedodul Ba. So like Rabbi Yochanan, like Rish Lakish is not a kasha, but like Rabbi Yochanan we said Divrei Hakol Shechita Oisa Nipol. What do you mean Divrei Hakol Shechita Oisa Nipol? So who's Rameya talking to? How did Rameya say V'Seiva Amduldu Ba Davish Gufa that it's working? I thought Rabbi Yochanan says it doesn't work for anybody. Sagt tomorrow, Bishlam Rish Lakish that says it's machlokes. Bishlam Rish Lakish Lidivreim Kamalu Lidi. Yeah, even though Rish Lakish also said it's a machlokes Legabi Aver the Behema also. So who's the mayor talking? He holds he disagrees. So he's talking Lidivreim Drabanan. Lidivreim Kamalu Lidi. Di Loishna Aver the Over Loishna Aver the Behema. Kada didn't know that it doesn't work. Ella, right? Mashing but Lididcha. So Zakrameh to Chachamim. You hold that it works. Okay, I understand why it works because it's Davish Gufa, right? It makes sense. El Rabbi Yochanan Kasha, if he says the Rihakos doesn't work, Kasha, Ela Yimahachi Itma. And in Chanami, we're changing the whole Rabbi Yochanan. Not the Rihakol. Shchita Oisen Nipple, Punk Faket. Shchita, the Rihakol Shchita, and Oisen Nipple. Ela Yimahachi Itma, Rab Shema, and Lakish, Kemachlis Bob, Kakmachlis Beifarn. Rish Lakish remains the same, that the Machlis remain, the Chachamim, is Sai Be'ubim, Sai Beivarim, if the Shchita is going to work on the Aver to take off Tom of Rabbi Yochanan, Machlis Be'aver the Ober, Avu Be'aver the Behemoth, that shchita is in nipol. That l'chuli alma ein shchita is in nipol. That avada the shchita works on the aver hamidodol. So now, what's the svara if it for sure works? Less like tekantim chazara. So we need a new svara in the second version of Rabbi Yochanan. We need a new svara. Rabbi Yochanan. Clean my time with Rabbi Yochanan. Alibi Rameya. Hai gufa v'hai gufa. That since it's gufa, so therefore the shechita is going to work on the aver hamidodol, even though it doesn't work on the uber loit reb meyem. Good. That's the end of that Gemara. Now we're going to have another Gemara, which is going to go into this same shmooze of nipple, of shchitais and nipple and misais and nipple. Let's go through it real quickly. Try to get it clear. Am Rabbi Yitzchak by Yosef, Am Rabbi Yochanan, Hakol Moedim. Everybody is masking. Hakol Moedim. And this is Rabbi Yitzchak, Am Rabbi Yochanan. It says mamish similar to the last version of Rabbi Yosef Chanina, right? Am Rabbi Yochanan, Hakol Moedim shemisais and nipple. Meaning that if something falls off, if something is medodol and then it dies, the animal dies, so it's misais and nipol, and we look at it as if it was eva menachai before. Ve'ein shchitais and nipol. Sakti bar b'may. B'may asking ilem be'eva de'ober. It can't be. He can't be talking about be'eva de'ober. Why? Because meflek pli. We have machlekes remain the chacham. El be'eva de'behemba. Kach we're talking about eva de'behemba. Frakti Gemara, Misa Tanina, Shchita Tanina. They're both Mefurish and Mishnayos later on in the Harba, right? Yeah? Where? Misa Tanina. The Mishnah is talking about a case where you have an animal that has hanging avarim and hanging meat, right? And the Mishnah says, Mesa ha-behema. If the behema dies, so now what do we do? It depends. Ha-basar, that's hanging, so it can't be. So it can't be. So it's called basar. It's misais and nipo. So it's basar menachai, right? It's as if it was dislodged before the misa. Ha-basar menachai tzarech hechsher. In other words, that it's not tamei. It doesn't have any hilchos nevela. It's not a nevela. You just have to be machsherit. You have to be machsherit for it to be mekabel tuma. But avada, it's not going to be. It's not going to be tamei because why? Because misa zeis and nipple, right? The ha'eva metamim shem eva menachai, and the eva is metamim shem eva menachai. So it's clear that what that misa zeis and nipple. The eina metamim shem eva menachai. Divrei right? So that's Mefurish Mishnah so far that misa zeis and nipple. That what? That misa zeis and nipple. That if the animal dies, we look at it as if it had disconnected before the misa. Sai legabe basar that it's not going to be an avela, and sai legabe aver that it's going to blind aver menachai. It's not going to be as an avela. The same case where it has hanging basar and has hanging aver, we say nishchita behema hochsharu b'damel. So what does it say? Hochsharu b'damel, meaning that it's hochshar. It blives hochshar that it's royal lekabel toma. Hochsharu royal lekabel toma. What do you mean royal lekabel toma? I thought it's tummy itself. Vice says that what? That ein shchita is a nipple, and since ein shchita is a nipple, so therefore, what does that mean? That means that the shchita works on it al kopanim legabe toma, and therefore it's hochsharu b'damel that the shchita works on it, that it's not going to be a problem. It's not makabel toma out the vela, and since it's not makabel toma out the vela, it's going to be. And it's hochshel kabel tuma, and therefore it's clear that what shchita zois and nipol. Divrei Meir, Reb Shimon aimed loy hochshu. It's a machlekes of Meir and the Chacham, Meir Reb Shimon about hechsher, but not a question legabe nipol that obviously clearly shchita ain't shchita is a nipol. So now the question is so what was this chiddush of Rabbi Yitzchak and Rabbi Yochanan? The Hakol Moedim Shemisa Oisenipol Vein Shchita Oisenipol. L'chura, it's Mefurish Mishnayos that what that Shchita is Oisenipol and ein that Misa is Oisenipol and ain't Shchita Oisenipol. So tomorrow Imai Yavamina had it just said Yena Mishnah. I would have thought that's Takar Pshat Yena Mishnah, but I would have thought a different Pshat. Havamina my Hochsharu is not talking about Aver. Aver is never because nipol avada shchita zoysa nipol and avada would blibe eva menachai, and if it blibes eva menachai avada it's tamei, and if it's tamei, so then it's not negay hechsher. Hechsher is something that's going to be right, is achila that's right lekabel tuma. What is it negay, right? So obviously we're not talking about what? Tuma, right? My hochsharu abasar. That what? Avada shchita would be oiser nipol, and avada since shchita is oiser nipol, and the shchita doesn't work on it, and therefore it's eva menachai, and if it's eva menachai, it's makabel toma. The Mishnah says hochsharu. So if I says it's not doesn't have its own toma, it's negay to be makabel toma. Must be talking about abasar. That basar, since it's not a full eva, so it's not. It doesn't have eva menachai, so that's the way it's negay. It's just abasar. Effectively more of a hochsharu ketani, meaning they are hochshar. Obviously, we're talking about different things that are hanging off this animal, not just the basar, the avarim that are meduldolum as well. So tomorrow, v'chad the basar aperish min behema, v'chad the basar aperish min aver. Again, it's all a havamina. Obviously, we don't hold like that, but I would have thought that there's a difference between basar, meat that comes off, that was meduldul and was separated off from the animal itself. That over there we say that the pshat is that it's not Eva Menachai and it's not Mekabel Tuma. And the difference is by Basar Parish Eva, that if you have an Eva Menachai, that's Mekabel, that gives off Tuma. Then a piece of basar comes off that aver. Again, over there also, I would think that there's a difference. So, by only the high mehai, what should make the difference? I would think that the pshat is, I would think that Lamaisa, since this basar of an aver was part of an aver, and once it was part of an aver, it already had tumas Ken Nevela of Eva Menachai, and therefore it's already that should give it a status of Hoshur Kabul Tum. So this is all the Havamina, and that's why we needed this Rabbi Yochanan. So let's finish up. The Gemara Amar Rabbi Yosef and the Kaiter Rabbi Yitzchak by Yosef V'Yadcha. We had two versions of Rabbi Yochanan before. Rashi explains this is how we learned the Gemara. We just had two versions of the Gemara before. Did Rabbi Yochanan say that L'kuli Yalma Shchita is Ois and Nipol, or L'kuli Yalma ain't Shchita Ois and Nipol? Right? That was a two. Now we just had a memra of Rabbi Yisrael by Yosef, Rabbi Yochanan, that ain't Shchita Ois and Nipol. So Memela, so don't, in other words, don't try to fan for the first version that we had. We asked the kasha from the Brisa and Amid Aleph. No, Nekait, Rabbi Yitzchak by Yosef Yadcha, the Rabbi Bavachana Kaikavase, because I have a member of Rabbi Bavachana that holds clearly that ain't Shchita Ois and Nipol. The Tanya, Lahavi, Pasuk seems to say, Brisa seems to be a Bryce, Drasha. Lahavi, Eva, Basam Dodon, but Behemo, Bchayaboif, Vishachten, Shein Asurit. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, it's not a real Dairais, it's only an Asmachta, it's just a Mitzvah's Proish. So it's clearly that why? Because it's not Aser out. Because we hold that ain't Shchita Ois and Nipol, and since ain't Shchita Ois and Nipol, so there is no iser of Lahavia Aver V'Abasar Amudodolim V'Sheshachton Shehein Asurim, because Ein Be'em Mitzvah's Price, it's only Midrabanan, but Avada Midaraisa Ein Shchita Ois and Nipol, and the Shchita works on the Aver Amudodol. You want to should we finish up the last shtickle of Gemara? It's an easy Gemara. Yes, Rav Yosef Kamei Rav Huna. Yes, we come Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav Achlei Lazeh Loike. Yeah. So again, so Rav Yosef was saying over in front of Rav Huna that what in the name of Rav Achlei Lazeh Loike. Don't listen to Rav Yosef. Haki Amar Rav Yitzchak Bar Shmuel Bar Marsha Mishmei Rav Achlei Lazeh Ein Loike. So now Rav Huna hears this machlokes over here. Rabbi Yosef says loika, and somebody else said a different member shmei the Rav ain't loika. Amalei Rav Huna. So Rav Huna says anana man ismoich. We're up the creek. What are we going to do? Should we listen to this guy? This guy. What does Rav hold? I don't know. Yosef lapei. Rabbi Yosef was like upset. He says Amalei my kosher. Ki amriana b'misa da'isanipo. I was talking about misa da'isanipo. Which is mamish the chilik that we said before, that Misa is Ois and Nipol and Shchita is Ois and Nipol, which is what we said for Rabbi Yochanan.